Hi, this is Joy Robertson. As many of you know, I love food. I love finding new restaurants. I love trying new dishes. And most of all, I love talking to the many great restaurateurs and entrepreneurs we have here in the Ozarks and beyond. I love hearing their stories, and that's what this podcast is all about, learning more about them and their journey. So join me as we savor the Ozarks. So the Springfield Convention and Visitors Bureau called the restaurant I'm sitting in right now one of the coziest places in the 417. I am at T-Bar and Bites with the owner, founder, Colleen Smith. And I also have another special guest with me today, Eleanor Taylor from Prairie Pie, downtown. So it's a twofer today. And this is big. This is a big news day. And I haven't broken a news story in a long time. And the word is out on this deal. But there's a big change about to happen. And both of you are taking part in this. Colleen, I'm going to start with you. I want to talk about T-Bar because this is one of the most cozy, wonderful places in town. And it's been here, 20 years? Give me a little history.
21 years now.
21 years.
Yes.
Okay.
And
did it start truly as a place for tea? Because you have a heck of a tea menu.
Yes. And when I first started, I didn't have a lot of, cash on hand. So I had the guys from Mud House come over and show me what they thought would be the best teas to order. And they were very helpful with that. Because, I grew up having tea with my Irish grandmother. That was always in our home, and the sound of the tea kettle and all that. So I knew I wanted to have like a tea bar, with all different kinds of teas. So as as the business grew, I was able to add more teas, and now we have over 70 teas now, and you can mix and people come in and they have their favorites or they ask for, recommendations. We have people come in and say, I've never had tea before. What can you recommend? So that's always fun, but it has a real, in my heart, that's such a good thing to do, with your loved ones or your friend, because everything happens over tea,
Well, it does. It's like a perpetual tea party for yourself. Right, exactly. You just had a 21-year running tea party, which is fantastic. Yes. But you have bites as well, and that was not an afterthought. You had food to begin with, correct?
Yes. And so I wanted it to be, bites of food and then baked goods. And so in the beginning, we had a small menu and a small tea menu. And, we started we have our standards that we started with our bakery, our T-Bar cookies, our lemon bars, our peanut butter brownies, Tort, yes, chocolate tort, the coconut cream cupcakes. So they've been our standards since we opened the doors. And then we've added new things, over the years, and a lot more vegan options too, and so it's been a fun, it's just been a fun process, and it's been one of the loves of my life.
Well, it shows. It's a labor of love for you, and there's love in everything that you do. And we're right here on Pickwick near Cherry, in literally the cutest little spot here on the street, which is really kind of becoming it always has been popular, but it's kind of becoming a more sort of booming neighborhood. Were you always a cook? Did you grow up cooking?
Yes. My favorite Christmas present was the Easy Bake Oven, which I had displayed in the front part of the cafe, Colleen's First Oven. So, and I sneaked a peek at Christmas, and I saw it underneath my parents' bed, and I was the happiest little girl. I was probably, I'm not sure what year they came out. I would say I was 5. It started very young. And then my mom loved to bake. She would make eclairs, cinnamon rolls, all kinds of things. And so we would bake together. And then my grandmother, the Irish are all about taking, time to sit down and enjoy a meal and desserts and tea. So it was always a part of my life. And then when I started having children, that's what I loved doing. It was feeding my family and coming up with some new ideas, and then we were the home where we had a lot of celebrations. We were the place people came to celebrate because it was a very natural thing for me to cook for a lot of people, and my kids all learned that too. They're all great cooks and know how to bake, and I remember one time my oldest called me. He's living in California, and he said, "Mom, I don't know what to cook. I want to surprise Vanessa." And so I said, "Open up your cupboards. Tell me what you have." And we just created something like that, and that's how they learned. And then I was able to, when I was in college, going back a little bit, I worked at a natural food restaurant called Earth Wonder, and it was wonderful down on South Campbell. And so I learned how to, cook with natural foods and herbs, and really got the passion for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were in college here then. Did you grow up here also?
No, I grew up in Kansas City.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And went to Catholic schools my whole life. And then I came down 50 years ago to go to college, and loved it so much that I stayed. And then my parents loved it. And we had horses in Kansas City, so they bought land and a home on the Finley River and brought all the horses and all the other animals that we owned. And it just was a natural progression. And so my parents were here for over 40 years. I still call Kansas City my home, but this is, this is my home right here.
There's a leap that you make if you cook at home and you really enjoy cooking, and then saying, I'm just going to open a little restaurant. Yeah. What was it that encouraged you to do that? Did you think, I want to open a restaurant and find this, or was it one of these situations where you found this place and you thought, I could make magic in there?
Yeah. Well, I discovered it when I was in college. I loved coming over here, and at the time, there were a lot of rental homes. Families had moved on or passed away, and there was a lot of young people over here, and that's how I discovered this wonderful Spanish building then, and always admired it. But I had no idea I was going to open up a restaurant. And
what was in it back then?
It was a lot of different things. There was a barbershop here. There was a couple different. There was a really cool place called Pickwick Place, and it was all home store, cool antiques and things, and so it has. There's just been so many. I would hate to leave somebody out, but there's been a lot of different businesses. The middle part was the home that was built in the 1920s, and it was the man that built it he was a judge here, Judge Warren White, and his wife was of Spanish descent. So he eventually built on these two wings it had the courtyard, so she'd feel comfortable here, and it had that great vibe here.
Totally.
And each door that you see was a different business. So when I'll back up a bit, I had an opportunity to start a catering business. I had a good friend that worked for Pfizer and said, I need somebody to come do my doctor's lunches and some dinners. And I said, and I was in between jobs, and I said, oh, I can do that. And so I started doing it, and I was busy 5 days a week, and then I took on some other pharmaceutical reps, and I learned a lot how to feed, which I'd already done at home, but to go out and do, like a big group of doctors with a lobster meal or, and then I delivered lunches to their offices a lot. I was busy. And then I knew that I needed to get a bigger space for my kitchen because I was getting more business. And Lori Knowlton and I, she lived in the neighborhood then, we started talking about trying to maybe open up something and share the space. So this came available for rent. It just happened like it was cosmic or something.
Yeah.
It just like I came here one day and I went to the back garden, and I just put my arms up in the air and said, "This is where I want to be." And the next day, we got a phone call that it came up for rent, and so Lori and I decided to share the space. She was doing massage and was certified for that. So I had just the front room when I first opened. I had 8 seats, and I was thinking more to go, carry out, and I could still do my catering. And we built a kitchen in the back. There's like an old carriage house back there, and it was a single car garage. And our landlord was wonderful, Alan Casey, and he, basically let me build a kitchen back there. And all I had was an electric burner, like a single burner. And I had enough money from the catering to buy a Blodgett oven that I could, do all the baking, or I could put the, the baked chicken in there for our, Asian chicken wrap, things like that, our curry chicken salad, and then we baked our quiches. And so I started out really small, and I had a crock pot that I, put my soups in, and it was real minimal then. And then as I began to grow, and Lori's business grew, she was able to move to the middle. Alan Casey moved out, and I was able to take over the whole space. So I just kind of followed the lead of the customers that came, and I was able to add the courtyard in that following spring after my first year, and that was huge. That was a lifesaver. Went through a few things with the city for it not being zoned for outdoor dining, but we got that straightened out, and then I was able to seat out there full time. And then we took on these, other 2-3 dining rooms, and it just took off. And the neighbors in the Roundtree neighborhood, they were so supportive, because I opened up in January, not a great month for a new restaurant, but they supported me when I remember when it snowed. They pulled their kids up on sleds, and they were wonderful. They wanted me to succeed, and I remember the day we were supposed to open up, and I kept telling my daughter Megan, because she had just graduated from Drury. She said, "Mom, I'll stay with you for the first year, and we'll do this together." And so she said, "Mom, we got to get the chalkboard out. We got to get it out." I'm like, "Give me one more day. Give me one more day." And then finally she said, "Nope, we're doing it today." She put it out on the sidewalk, and people started coming, and I couldn't believe it. It was just like a dream come true.
Well, I would imagine you have a fair amount of walk-up traffic to your restaurant here because of the neighborhood and the people that live around here, but repeat customers for 21 years. You mentioned Tess Harper's a regular, the actress Tess Harper, who's amazing.
Yep, she lives in the neighborhood and has moved to Springfield, and where she went to college, and she's lovely. I have people that have been coming in, like maybe they were pregnant and I did their baby shower, and now their kids are in high school. You get to know them, and you know what their kids like and what they don't like, or I have a special friend, Eric, who has some sensory issues, and he has really grown coming in here. We would always be conscious of, if we knew Eric was coming, to turn the music down a little bit, things like that. We have his favorite cup whenever he comes in. Aww. And he's still coming in. He's 11 years old. So we've had long-term customers, and then we get new ones all the time from all of the whole corner has just blown up around here.
It's just amazing. It's an amazing part of town. And by the way, sitting just to your right is none other than Eleanor Taylor. And I've seen you elbow her a couple times telling these stories about back in the day when you only had the hot plate and the crock pot and whatever. Interestingly, Eleanor, your place is also on the cozy list with the Convention Visitors Bureau. You two I never really thought about it until I heard the news. And Eleanor, to your credit, when I had you on Savor the Ozarks podcast, she would not tell me, Colleen, she would not tell me. She said she had something going on, but she wouldn't tell me. She wouldn't. And she didn't. And then
I did.
Yeah, Colleen whispered in my ear.
Still a secret.
Okay, and I did not tell a soul. I didn't do anything about anything. Here I am. But Eleanor, you're taking over T-Bar and Bites as of January 1, correct?
That is correct. Yes, I'm very excited.
Okay, so there's more than just a love for this place. You have a history with this place. You worked here for quite a few years as a young person. So you've been coming, you know the place. You know where the crock pot and the hot plate are, right, Colleen?
Exactly.
So talk a little bit about your history with this place. How did you get started?
Well, I came here as a little girl with my friend Charlotte. I used to have tea with her about once a month when I was a kid, and she loved to drink tea. And of course, you come to the place that serves 70 plus teas, T-Bar and Bites. And funnily enough, I had never come here before coming with Charlotte, even though I grew up like 4 blocks away. So T-Bar had started here just mere blocks from me, and I was unaware. until Charlotte brought me. And then as I grew older and I turned 16 and I was baking pies in my home, or baking cookies in my home kitchen, my mom said, it's time for you to get a job. And she said, you're going to take these beautiful cookies you've made down to Colleen.
Wow. She was so bright. She was so bright.
And I just remember these pitiful little cookies wrapped in saran wrap and asking for Colleen.
They were awesome.
Well, Colleen tells a story about the cookies. You remember the cookies vividly. Tell me about the cookies.
They were tie-dyed, and they were little shirts. Tie-dye shirts. They were.
And so you're thinking,
And I'm just like, oh my gosh, do you need a job? Yeah, it was so brave of you, Eleanor, to come up all on your own. Because I don't even know if I had an ad out, did I? I don't think so. So I need to thank your mom for pushing you out the door. And so when I tasted, I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I hired her right away. And, she was just so lovely and just one of my very favorites always. And
what a great first job in a place like this and close to home and doing what you love, obviously. And so you did this for about 5 years, right?
Yes, I knew I had lucked into a great job, and I was so nervous to start. I remember shaking in the back garden before Lindsay, the baker who trained me, Lindsay Galloway, she let me in the back door, and I just remember trembling. She probably thought, who is this kid?
Oh, my gosh. No, she fell in love with you like we all did.
Oh, my gosh. And so you were here for about 5 years, and this was really probably your first real exposure to the real restaurant business. You got people coming in the door, they're hungry, you got to feed a lot of people, you got to pick up dishes, you got to wash the dishes, you got dietary needs and all sorts of stuff. And I guess it was kind of hook, line, and sinker for you. Is that right?
I kind of dipped my toes in. I was just the baker's assistant for a while, so just one day a week. And then as I grew a little older and a little more confident, they were like, okay, well, you need to serve the tables now. Now that you have a little bit of confidence behind you, get out there.
So is there a difference between being the one, I think there is, between being the one who wants to wait on the people and being the one crafting the magic in the back?
Oh, sure.
Like, do you ever think you want to, you're very good getting out and chatting with customers and all that, but you're just such an artist. Do you prefer being back there making magic?
I love the kitchen. I love talking to people, but I love the kitchen more.
Yes.
I keep squirreled away back there, and I love just being in my headphones, rocking my pie crust or my cookie dough or whatever I've got going on. But
there was a time we had an order for how many sugar cookies? Do you remember that?
250 sugar cookies.
Yes. And they're a ton of work. First you have to make the dough, chill the dough, roll the dough, cut the dough. And then when you had such a great, Eleanor's recipe was the best. And then the icing that you did, and then you have to let that set up. So it's a good 3-day process, really. And we had this huge order. And I can't believe you let me do that. Oh my gosh. I am so grateful that you did it. But we had some tears too, because it was getting a little overwhelming, and Jamie Bohannon was here cheering you on, and it was a great memory that I have. Yes, and she just and then she goes on to learn how to learn the pie business in New York, right? That's where you...
I remember you said we went to New York City and it was really fun for a minute. And then you were like, I really want to go home. Yeah. And here you are.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. I love Springfield a lot. I'm happy to be home.
You think about all those years ago, you came back to Springfield. Did you come back here at that point, or had you finished sort of your tenure at T-Bar by that time?
I had finished my tenure here. I moved home with the intention of starting Prairie Pie. I worked kind of a long, hard job in New York, and I had a lot of time to myself to think. And the idea of Prairie Pie was born while I was doing very monotonous tasks. But I moved back with the intention of starting like a wholesale pie business, which I did.
Okay. And earlier, before we started recording this conversation, Colleen, you said that when Eleanor told you she was leaving, it was not
the
best day for you.
No.
Talk about tears.
No.
You said you shed a tear or two that day.
No, it was like, it was like losing my daughter.
Yeah.
Honestly. Yeah. But I knew it was the best. She needed to go and spread her wings, and I was all for it. It was just hard. Yeah.
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 But look at where we are now. Who
I
approached
know.
who? How did this happen? Like, how did this whole, you know what I think? I mean, you don't have to tell me everything, but you can tell me
Sure.
everything if you want to. Where did the idea get started? I mean, Colleen, you're so good at this place.
Thank you.
But eventually we all kind of want to relax and go do something different. So were you thinking along the lines of retiring, or did you approach Colleen, Eleanor? How did it happen?
Yeah, I wasn't really thinking about retiring yet. My kids were thinking I needed to retire and give my body a break and stuff. So I just wasn't. I wasn't at that point. And I believe, let's see, Vance and Patrick, my son, and they're good friends.
And Vance being your husband, Eleanor.
Yes. And he's awesome. And he grew up in the neighborhood, and my son Patrick was over here a lot. So I saw him as a young boy, and he reached out, and because I had someone else reach out to me that was very interested in buying the business, and it wasn't the right fit. But then Vance reached out and we met, and he reminded me that it was, Colleen, we've been talking for 4 years.
Funny how time does that, isn't it? So bizarre, I know.
And then things got, more serious, and we met, several times, and it just kind of evolved, and I'm like, okay. All right, let's do it. And I couldn't be happier. I mean, it's the best case scenario, other than my family taking it over. They're like family, and it makes me happy. But of course I will miss it. But I'm going to come bug you and be a customer.
You're going to come in there and say, hey, Joy likes those goat cheese and rosemary scones. You hadn't made those in a while. Eleanor, get on it. So you're going to boss her around a little bit, come throw your weight around every now and again?
I won't do that. But yes, she does like those scones. So we'll get those soon. I called you one time when we had them. I remember. Yes. Yeah.
I saw them on your Facebook page one day, and I came over here like I probably drove 100 miles an hour to get here. There were 2 left, and I bought both. I was that greedy little girl.
This week I'll make sure the bakers that I have are going to do that. So yeah, we'll do.
My goodness. Okay, so what are we going to, when you take over, and I mean, we're talking less than a month here.
Right.
Are we going to walk in here and it's going to be completely different with neon signs and all these modern fixtures? No, it's not going to be like that at all. It's going to be, you'll have your spin on it too, but it's going to be very much the familiar T-Bar that we know and love.
Yes, we bought T-Bar and Bites because we love T-Bar and Bites. So changes, there might be some that you might notice, but to be honest, we're going to leave it as much the way we can. So.
Are there any changes in terms of days that you're open? Colleen's getting a little teary.
Yes.
Do you need me to get you Kleenex? Okay, I can run. Okay, you let me know. I got you. Are you thinking of changing hours at all, or doing anything differently, or anything you could tell us from the get-go that you might, I don't know, little additions or changes at all?
We definitely want to continue doing the Sunday brunch,
Yes.
Which is a huge hit as far as I know. Yeah,
it is. Oh yeah.
And so we want to hit the weekend breakfast brunch situation pretty hard. We'll probably be adding a DoorDash tablet, so delivery service.
We've had a lot of requests for that. That's probably that's a good thing. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I am personally the most excited about continuing a Saturday tradition of caramel rolls.
Yes!
Which I'm sure everyone will be happy to hear about that.
Yes, the caramel rolls are a thing. Oh, that's a great deal.
Eleanor would be in the bakery when my partner Mike Smith learned to make them, and we would be back there together. And there's still that picture of you and Charlotte hanging up in the bakery. But my partner Mike took over the cinnamon rolls. I had shoulder surgery. I just couldn't roll the dough like I was able to before.
That's why I'm holding my arm up the way I am right now, because my shoulder's just going to fall off. That has to be a challenge, but I'm sure you feel better now that you've had it. We'll talk about that. Yeah,
and
we'll talk.
Glad you had it.
Oh gosh,
I know.
I hate thinking about it. But you mentioned Mike, and I know Mike, and I'm like, KSMU Mike Smith makes caramel cinnamon rolls at T-Bar. Wait a minute. How did this? So that's great.
And he's never baked in his life. And when I was having trouble, he said, well, why don't you teach me? And I said, okay. And I taught him. And then he went and perfected them and just took it to the next level. So Eleanor wants to carry them on, and people will be so happy to hear that, Eleanor. We had to put it on hold because Mike went through some health issues with cancer and surgery, and so we just, instead of me trying to teach, a part-time baker how to do it, and the hours he would put in on it too. It was a 2-day process. He would make the dough Friday afternoons. He'd come back and punch it down that night, and put it in the fridge to do another rise. And then come back, and he'd get here at 5 in the morning. I'd join him at 6, which you don't have to get here that early, Eleanor. You can get here whenever you want. And I'm sure you'll find some different ways to maybe make the process a little easier. But and then he just had a great way of rolling them out. And people started lining up outside the gate before we were open. And then I had to put a limit on them. Do you remember that when we had to put a limit? It was where some people got upset because they couldn't buy 6, but I wanted to make sure everybody in line at least got one, so we limited it to 2 rolls per person.
It's like the cronut of Springfield.
Yeah.
Remember when the cronut happened in New York City and the world lost its mind? It's kind of the same thing here. But the people who are listening to this right now, to hear you talk about, being here late at night, putting the dough together, then you come back later, you pound it out, and then you come back the next morning before the sun is up and you get back at it. Yeah. It is not for everyone. Not everyone they all want to eat, right? But not everybody wants to work that hard. You two, on the other hand, that's what you do, which I think is what makes this just such a special thing. Is Prairie Pie going to remain downtown?
Yes, Prairie Pie will stay the same, and we'll just add this to our little repertoire of restaurants.
And they know the restaurant business well, because Vance, he's the one that started Druff's and created that and made that the great little cafe that it is, and then he sold it.
Kenny McMahon owns Druff's now, and we couldn't handle having one restaurant. We needed 2. So we needed to add another. T-Bar was literally the perfect fit. Yes. And I'm so glad you're willing to trust us with your child.
Absolutely.
So Vance is going to be all in this too. What is his role going to be here?
His role is going to be numbers, spreadsheets. He'll be the probably main staff manager, and then I'll manage the baked goods side. But he currently does the same for Prairie Pie. So he does all of our payroll, all of our behind the scenes stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, which is so important. And it's great that he knows how to do all of that. Yeah, it was never my strength. Nope.
Well, and apparently Colleen's a really good teacher, so if you need her to show him how to do these caramel rolls, I'm sure she'd be happy to help. Not that you couldn't, but, you're busy, so.
Yeah.
He might learn one day.
Well, yeah, he might. What was hard was just letting go and let Mike do it his way, because I had to really work on that. Just, okay, he's willing to get up and put all these hours in it. And I had to just step back and go over and melt butter, get the sugar ready, things like that.
Oh, my goodness. So 20 years you've been here, 21, and, all the different teas, the quiche, whether you come here for breakfast or you come here for a nice lunch or one of your evening dinners, your themed dinners that you've had.
We'd like to get those. I say we. You should get those back.
Okay.
Because people really love the themed dinners. We did them once a month. We did like
Greek.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Greek Isles. We did Springtime in Paris. We did Mayan Moonlight. We did, I'm trying to think other ones. Just all kinds of great things. And it was a 5-course meal. And, and I have people still asking, when are you bringing those back? We had to kind of stop that when COVID happened. It was too difficult. And then you don't have enough staff, and you have to have the right staff that can do that too. So I think that you would love doing that, but that's up to you all now.
Well, and we won't make you start it the first week or anything, Eleanor, but it's something you might decide to add to your repertoire after you're here for a while. Colleen, what about you? What are you going to do every day when you're not in this restaurant meeting and greeting and all these relationships you've built and all of that? I mean, you're not leaving the area or anything, are you?
No, and I live in the neighborhood, so I'm just 3 blocks away, Eleanor, if you need me. Okay. I'll come up and be a customer and meet a lot of my old customers that I've developed relationships with. And so I'll be around. It'll give me more time to go visit my kids who all live out of town, and my 6 grandkids who I'll get to spend more time with. And, maybe some volunteer work. I thought, since we went through the chemo ward and all that, I could see they needed help over there, and I inquired about it. So I might do something like that. I don't know. We'll see. I have time to think about it. But I'm used to being busy, and it was always so rewarding coming to work. It'll be a big change for me.
It'll be a big change, but it'll be a good change. And like you said, if you live not far from here, then you can just wander on over anytime. And she may call you and say, are you busy? Because it's snowy and I really need some help because people can't get in. And I'm sure you would be happy to have Colleen around, right?
Absolutely, yes. It's good to know that you're so close.
Yes, isn't it? Yes. Or babysit. But I know your mom babysits.
You might have to fight over babysitting.
Yeah, we might have to fight over little Gene.
Oh, little Gene, of course, the little boy.
So, he'll get to grow up here. Uh-huh. And that's really special because my kids, even though they were, going off to college or they were able to help me. And that was the reason, I wanted it to be a family business. So they all took part. And it was funny, my oldest, Josh, and his best friend at the time, Kyle Bell, they would go deliver the catering jobs for me for a doctor's office. And so they were all helping in some way. And I think it's been real good for them, to grow up with that and see their mom succeed and do hard things and
do such good things and make people so happy. Eleanor, what does this lady mean to you? You guys are like hands-on all the time. You're so cute together. What does she mean to you? She's just the world.
Oh, I'm struggling to come up with
something. So you don't have to.
It's just exciting because it was my mom, she has her own business, and to then have my first job come and be with a woman-owned business and see her hard at work. Just a lot of hardworking women in my life. Oh. And to have Colleen be one of those, it feels so right. And
I know, it does, doesn't it?
I love how much you love feeding people, and I think I've taken that in a lot because it's one of my great joys is feeding people and making them happy. And
you do it well.
Thank you.
You do it well. Oh my gosh.
Seeing you care for your family while doing the business is inspiring to me. I don't know.
Gosh.
Well, and she means a lot to you, too.
Oh, she means the world to me. I mean, I'm so impressed with Eleanor when I first met her and continued to be amazed by this wonderful person and hardworking and knows, the simple things, just treating people well, making them feel good. When they come in the door, when they leave, just making, it's like our love language, I think, taking care of people and feeding them.
My default,
yeah. Did you say it's your default?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is, to just automatically, you come through those doors, what can I give you to drink? What can I feed you?
Yeah.
How can I make your belly full and make you relaxed and happy? And happy to be in this place, in this time, in this world. So.
Oh my! That's beautifully said, Eleanor. Thank you so much for being you. Oh, I feel a lot of love right now.
I know.
Thank you, Joy, for bringing us together for your podcast. That's really sweet. And
Well, thank you
Wonderful.
both for what you're doing and taking time to talk to me. And I look forward to visiting, I want to say the new T-Bar. Still here,
sure.
but it'll be different, but it'll be different in such a good way.
And they'll take it to the next level. I have no doubt about that.
Okay.
Yeah, and you've got great supportive business owners. Most of them are women-owned businesses on this corner, which is wonderful. And you'll find a lot of support from them and your customers. Gosh, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for them to see you again. Because one of my customers was in today. Well, not today, because what is today?
Tuesday.
Oh, we were.
I wasn't sure. I'm glad you knew.
And she said, "I remember Eleanor," because they've been coming in since we opened. And she's really excited.
Oh, good.
She's really excited. Susan Parrish.
Oh, okay.
Susan and Stan Parrish. They're lovely people.
Okay.
Yeah. And I want to say too, I want to thank everyone that has come to T-Bar as a customer, as a friend, who became friends, but also to all the wonderful employees I've had over the years. And I'm so grateful that they wanted to work here. And I feel like when they left T-Bar, they had blossomed here. I would see it happen. And I feel like when they left here, whoever got them was going to be really happy. Because I felt like they learned a lot, and we talked about a lot of issues. We had NPR on in the bakery, and I just felt like this was a great place for them to come and find themselves, and a safe place for them to work too, and be all inclusive. And that's how I've always when I would hire someone, I said, I want you to treat them like they're coming to your home, and welcome them, and make them feel good, because it takes so little to do that. It's very important that we show kindness more, and inclusivity, and just to make them feel good with good food, and be consistent, and use good products. So I'm so thrilled they want to continue that on.
And wear cute aprons. I love the aprons that people wear.
And the apron fashion show.
Yes.
So, maybe that's something that we can... Oh, see, I keep saying we. That you
got to help with the fashion show.
I'll come do that. Because we would do an apron fashion show. We started years ago, and people would donate aprons or make them, and it was for Ozark Food Harvest. Right. And all the employees and the other businesses over here, Zen 3, they would model too, and it was a great event, and we raised several $1,000s for Ozark Food Harvest, and we always look forward to it every year. And then when COVID happened, all that, we tried doing it, and it had to be online. It wasn't quite the same, so I've had people say they missed that. Another thing, we also do the artist of the month, a different artist. They have a couple walls that we keep for just them. Our staff, they got to do art shows here, and just being involved in the community, like Harmony House. A group of us went over and helped make breakfast one morning and make biscuits, and we've collected for them for Halloween, all kinds of events. And I think it's really important to be involved with the community and give back. So that was always close to my heart.
Well, this place means a lot, not only to this Roundtree neighborhood, but to Springfield, because it's just such a wonderful, warm, cozy spot. And for both of you to be named on the cozy list says a lot. It totally fits, but I can't tell you how much I appreciate all that both of you do, and we're looking forward to the future. So Colleen Smith from T-Bar and Bites and Eleanor Taylor from Prairie Pie, thank you so much for sharing your story, and best of luck to you both.
Thank you, Joy.
Yes, thank you, Joy. We appreciate you. You've been wonderful over the years.
Be sure to go to AroundTheOzarks.com to sign up for our daily newsletter, where you can get every episode of Savor the Ozarks, plus all our other podcasts, events, and contests straight to your inbox. And what are your favorite dishes in the 417? You have any restaurants you'd like me to visit? Email me at joy@AroundTheOzarks.com.